Good afternoon, everyone. This is Misinformation speaking. I'll be presenting on COVID-19 and the impact of the cybersecurity threat landscape. First of all, I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who is joining in. I know it is after office hours, so thank you very much for attending this session. My session is about basically the COVID-19 disease, what impact it has had on society, what is society doing about it, all the media and so forth, what is happening regarding that, and basically what impact it has had in the terms of cybersecurity. Then we're going to discuss some terms of fake news and phishing emails and the attacks that are currently happening. Then I'm actually going to talk about the home office environment that we are busy finding ourselves in. What can we do about it? What is there to be done? How can we improve it? With all the employees now moving to the home office environment, it has become really, really difficult for employees to work from home. There's a lot of security concerns that needs to be adhered to. People need to know on how to deal with security when they are at home. And I'm just going to touch on that, what organizations should be doing, what you as an individual can be doing to improve your security at home, and just basically how to stay safe on the web out there. So let's start off. So my name is Francis, and I'm making a very bold statement here. The world as we know it will never be the same again. We're honestly at a point where employees have been forced to go and work from home due to the lockdown rules and staff isolation and social distancing. Every other country has a different term for what is happening. So in Norway, we're basically calling it social distancing. I know back in South Africa, they are actually in a lockdown where people aren't allowed to leave their homes. And it's a problem. My opinion is after all of this is over, the world will definitely be different. Companies and organizations will be working different. Companies will see working from home wasn't such a bad thing or it was a terrible thing, and policies will differ and how security and specifically cybersecurity is actually dealt with. And then society, you as an individual has an inherent need to be informed. That's why people go out there, watch news on a daily basis. They need to know what's going on, what's happening. Everyone wants to know what's going on. Unfortunately, the current problem is there's so much fake news going around that it's a massive cognitive task to work through all the news and determine what is actually happening, what is the situation, and how to deal with it. So at the moment, staying informed is already a very mentally taxing task. So, and also companies have requested that you work from home. There's a lot of people out there who have basically used your computer equipment for mainly day-to-day tasks at the office. You've got a laptop at the office, you use it, you work on it. These are the same people who have never had to set up a home network, configure the network, or know how to set up the internet or how to be secure on the internet when they connect to the network. All of these employees have been forced into a situation where they're asking organizations how they can stay secure and what to do about it. And that's where we're sitting today with a massive problem. We've got so many employees sitting at home, not knowing how to stay secure and what to do and how to work through this problem. So just my background currently, I'm an associate professor in cybersecurity at Norwich University College. I actually only recently started here back in January of this year. Previously, I was employed in South Africa as an incident response manager, where basically we looked at when companies get hacked, how to respond, how to do a digital forensic investigation, and get them up and running as fast as possible. From my academic background, I've got a doctorate in computer science, where social engineering was my main topic. And most of my work was psychology driven. I've also got quite a few subjects that I did in psychology, And based on that, I actually really enjoy observing society, why people act in a certain way, and how you can get people to act in ways that you want them to act. So just to get back to where we are currently, the photo I have there is the original workplace. That is how we remember the workplace to look. The photo I have here is actually the workplace, the staff meeting area for Norov University. So that is basically how it looks at this point in time. It is extremely empty. No one is really there. And if there is people, social distancing needs to be applied. Unfortunately, the workplace has changed to this. People are now working from home. You're using any space in your house to actually work from there. It is not the best. People are sitting on chairs that don't support them correctly. So we are going to get to issues where people actually have back problems. So just on a note of this, if you're sitting on a chair that looks similar to as the photo, talk to your organization, try get a chair or go out, purchase a chair. You are going to run into long-term problems. But as you can see here, people are improvising, using any space they can to actually continue getting their work done. Currently, and this is exactly where I'm doing my presentation from, is my laptop on a box to elevate my web camera, just so that I can do this presentation for you guys, and just to get some backlight in here. This isn't typically how I work from. I mean, I moved the desk for this presentation. So currently, it just shows people are improvising on what to do, how to work, how can we best get the job done. We all know we want to do the job as best as possible as we can. However, it is very difficult. So we do unconventional techniques to make sure we're in an environment where we can actually get the stuff done correctly. So just to tell you guys how I've been impacted, so you just know my background in the situation. So I've been in home office for slightly over 3 weeks now, where Norov has basically said that all teaching will occur online. We're continuously engaging with the students. So Norov is basically following the government guidelines. So all schools, including university, is closed until the 13th of April 2020. However, it is very important to note this is the latest info. It may change, and in my personal opinion, it will most likely change. If we look at what society is doing out there, a lot of countries has extended their lockdowns to past April into May. So unfortunately, it is a case where the situation isn't really 100% under control yet. So I personally think the situation of working from home is going to continue for quite some time still. Then, how do we keep sane? This is a very, very difficult question to answer. So what Norov is doing is we actually have, and I quote, forced interaction with staff. And it isn't a bad thing as it sounds there. So basically what they do is they're organizing daily meetings for us, interactive sessions, fun sessions where the staff just get together and discuss how is working from home going? What can we do? Is there any way the organization can assist us? What do we need? And then also as academic staff, we currently have regular engagement with students. So a lot of our engagement is already online. So what we do is we engage on Skype with the students. We have Zoom for all our classes currently. So we're still able to actually engage with our students in a very constructive fashion. So the situation back home, and this is now what I'm talking about in South Africa. Universities have actually been closed since the 16th of March 2020, and universities only plan to commence the academic year back on the 20th of April 2020. Currently, South Africa is in a full lockdown status. Basically, what that entails is only essential services are available. You're currently not even allowed to leave your property for exercise. The only reasons you are allowed to leave your property is if you go shopping, grocery shopping, or you have to go for a medical examination or something similar. So looking back in my current situation in Norway, I actually don't have it that bad. I may at least leave my house, go out for a walk, go out for a run. So there's a lot of things to be happy about in this situation. So let's start on defining what COVID-19 is. And I want to use this as the start of my presentation, as there's so much misinformation out there. People really don't know what's going on, how to deal with the situation, and it's basically due to there's so many news sources out there and people interpret the things wrong. So the term COVID-19, first of all, starting on coronaviruses. Coronaviruses is a large family of viruses ranging from simple things like the common cold. It's also the SARS virus and the MERS virus, all are classified under coronaviruses. The actual disease, the pandemic that has been declared by the World Health Organization, that is called the coronavirus disease, and that is what COVID-19 stands for. It basically stands for the coronavirus disease. Then, what causes this disease? You don't just get the disease. You actually have to get a virus, which is called the severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, the SARS-CoV-2 virus. So it's important to know why the coronavirus has become such a problem. So we have to look at all the different strains of viruses that we had over the past couple of years. The MERS virus actually took almost 2.5 years, 903 days, to infect 1,000 people. The SARS virus, similarly, was also slower than the COVID-19. That took 130 days to infect 1,000 people. And that's the main reason why COVID-19 is such a problem now. The first 1,000 infections only took 48 days. So it is a rapidly spreading disease. And due to this that is why people are urged to go into lockdown, urged to apply social distancing, keep about 1 meter or 2 meters between different people, because it is such a highly infectious disease. There's a lot of studies going on that people are not always aware that there are carriers of the disease, where they are not currently showing symptoms. So that's why everyone is urged to practice social distancing currently. So exponential growth, and the reason I've actually included in this slide is exponential growth. It isn't a difficult concept, but it's not part of the human psyche to be easily be able to understand how it works. So exponential growth means the infection rate actually doubles every 3 to 4 days currently, and this is now according to the statistics that we have and published by the World Health Organization. So people normally think of a growth where stuff increase as a linear algorithm, where it basically increased day 1, there will be 1, day 2, there will be 3, day 3, 3, day 4, 4 infections, and so forth. However, it is very difficult for the human mind to comprehend what doubling the number actually occurs. I mean, if you take a very basic thing and you've got one item of it, obviously you've doubled it 6 times already. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, see, it's actually difficult. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64 items only after 6 days of just doubling the number. So, and it really grows at that rate. So exponential growth is something, it's more of a surprise factor. That's why people don't always understand it. That is also the main reason why the COVID-19 virus, when it first came around, the countries said, well, we've got 1 or 2 or 3 infections. It isn't such a massive problem. It is because they didn't account for exponential growth in the infection rate. So what is happening? People are watching the media and the news outlets, and it is really absolutely conflicting information out there. On the left-hand side, you can see Homer Simpson is saying, and this is what the new media is portraying, the end is near. We are all going to die out from this. It's going to cause the economy to collapse, and it is an absolute massive problem, and there's reason to panic about it. Then the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, actually put out this pamphlet, Keep Calm and Wash Your Hands, which is another way the news is portraying, the media is portraying what's happening. So you've got these two polar opposites. The one media outlet is saying it's an absolute disaster, go into a frantic panic, we need to do something about it, where your second news outlet is saying, keep calm, just wash your hands, you'll be safe. People don't know what to do. It is an ongoing problem that people are not aware what to do, and that is causing people actually real problems. So the media has real positive impacts. I mean, on the right-hand side, you can see an image. You can see an image that's from Google, which is basically the 5 tips on how to stop the coronavirus. And it basically says, stay home, keep a safe distance, wash your hands, cover your cough, and if you're sick, just give a hospital a heads up before you go. Then people are constantly informed about what's happening. The media is trying to inform the people. So they're doing this so that people can feel informed, that they can be content and happy and know what's going on. But the real danger is actually in that people should listen to what the media says and cooperate with any rules that is provided. Unfortunately, it is the case that there is people who do not cooperate, and that is actually where our problem cases are lying. And then you've also got different kinds of societies. Different countries have different social norms, and not all societies trust what the media is portraying. There's also a lot of negative impacts of the media. There's so much news out there, it causes you a cognitive overload, which basically means there's so much information out there, you don't know what to trust, what is correct, you don't know how to take in all the information. A good example is when you watch the news and so forth, you see people are busy panic buying. Immediately, it tells you this is an irrational thing to do. The stores will have stock the next day. However, you then feel, but if everyone else is doing it and I don't do it, what happens if the stores actually do go out of stock? This is a problem that you're then sitting with, that you want to be in the know. You want to make sure you do have groceries for that month. Should you not go out and buy the groceries? It is a very difficult problem for you. Logically, you know the stores will have stock, but you feel obliged to form part of the social norm to actually go out and do panic buying to make sure you have what you need. And like I said in the previous few slides, there's massively mixed messages. I mean, this is in our everyday life. I mean, there's a sign that says no pets allowed. And the sign right under it, it says all pets must be on a leash. What does that mean in the end of that? Can you have a pet? Can your dog be there? Is it fine if it's on the leash or not? It's really difficult. So where or what are we now? So the problem is we're currently stuck in our homes. The next thing is, a lot of people thought having a home office it's a great thing. I mean, you can sit at home, spend time with your children. It's a really fun thing. People almost saw home office as a really positive thing, something that they want. However, people have realized that when they're at home, it's very difficult to bridge the gap between when work starts and when work ends. It starts interfering in your personal life and in your family life. You basically need to have a separate room dedicated to be your home office so that you can basically shut down when at the end of office hours. Otherwise, you're going to fall into the trap where you continuously work, continuously check up on emails, and you never really shut off from work. And basically, people have realized staying at home is not the holiday they thought it would be. Then, whilst you're sitting there, because your home office is most likely in your living room, somewhere where you're comfortable, It's most likely next to a television, and you're constantly watching the news, and the news is reminding you you need to work because actually the economy is doomed. We are all going to be dying. So it is very difficult to keep focused in that sense. And the media is also saying there's nothing you as an individual can really do about it. I mean, if you're not a medical practitioner, you can't go out. You're stuck in your home. So all the media is telling you is stay home, be calm, wash your hands. It's a vicious cycle just keeps continuing. You're basically stuck in your home, can't go out, and you don't actually have social engagement with other individuals. All of these things are actually causing psychological stress on you. So basically the psychological impacts of stress. And these are things you'll see as the longer you're in lockdown, these are emotions you start experiencing. Hysterics, you'll eventually have problems sleeping, you'll have a lot of headaches. A lot of people are basically feed off energy of other people. They eventually run into issues of depression because there isn't anybody else in the household to stimulate them. There isn't people they can go out and speak to. At some stage, you're also going to get angry. So all of these are known symptoms that stress causes you. So there's no real way to get out of this problem at the moment. And this has basically caused that people have a decreased reasoning capability. You have cognitive overload, which makes your reasoning capability a lot less. People are a lot more vulnerable while they are stressed, and you've got basically a heightened sense of emotional state. At this point in time, the work you do is not as productive always. It's very difficult for you to concentrate on what you're doing, and you are just emotional about the situation, and it isn't a great thing. What that basically causes is it's the greatest place for cyber attacks to take place. So I'm going to focus a bit on social engineering and how it affects our society, because social engineering basically preys on when you're in an emotional state and you have a tendency to trust and your safeguards are no longer up. So basically what it does is people will tell you to click on a link and you'll be like, oh, well, it's just another link. Let me view it. And you are going to click on it. And it might be a malicious link. So there's a lot of cybersecurity attacks that work on this premise. So the ones we're going to discuss today is basically, and these are the ones very specific to what's happening in the COVID-19 situation. So we're going to talk about phishing, fake URLs, physical attacks, preying on the basic goodwill of people, spreading personal agendas, spreading misinformation, the malicious website that's currently out there, and I also just briefly want to touch on the teleconference software as it's a massively hot topic at the moment. So phishing is basically, it's a scam where you receive an email. Typically, it says a Nigerian prince or someone who wants to give you money, and you need to deposit a small amount of money to actually get access to the larger sum of money. So these are types of attacks that are very common in social engineering. However, during the COVID-19 situation, what happened here is, and the example I have on screen, is in the US, President Trump actually made a proclamation that they will actually give relief packages for US families. At the very moment the relief packages were announced, these SMSs started going to every single family in the US, where it says, here's $1,000 to help you through this crisis. You've already been pre-approved. Navigate to this website and claim your money. And you'll know it's something you shouldn't be clicking on. You know it's a problem, you know it's a malicious link. But if your life depends on getting that $1,000, the chances of you clicking on that link is extremely, extremely high. It is a problem. People do click on these links. We did a phishing assessment previously at one of the security conferences, and doing the assessment on trained security personnel, these are people that work with phishing on a daily basis. We actually had 2/3 of them who clicked on the link just because they were curious or wanted to know about it. And if it was a real attack, obviously this one was harmless. 2/3 of an entire IT security conference would have been infected with malware. So it is really something to be aware of and take note of. Also, fake URLs. And this is very difficult for the public to distinguish what is a real URL and what is a fake URL. So as soon as the COVID-19 disease became such a massive talking point and everyone started discussing it and became media, the cyber criminals actually saw this is a great time to buy URLs up. So you'll see on a daily basis from about the 26th of January, we saw a massive increase on buying URLs, basically website addresses that people can visit. I mean, if you saw a message, corona-emergency.com, it looks legitimate to you. However, it's actually a malicious website behind there. I mean, also buycoronafacemasks.com. It looks like a legitimate website. Even beatingcorona.com. These are websites that people typically would navigate to. I mean, there isn't the thing where look at the website address being different or odd or something. There isn't a technique like that I can tell you guys to do. This is something that is there. There is no real way to know whether a website is malicious or not at this point in time. And that's why it's becoming such a problem. There's also a lot of physical attacks going out there. So, and initially when the COVID-19 virus came about and people started talking about it, there was a notion that criminals will be dressed up as medical personnel and they'll come into your homes and provide free testing. So what the criminals will typically do is lace the mask with some sedative. So immediately when you put it on, you would fall asleep. And then the criminals actually have free roam of your household. That is really a problem. But now in South Africa, it has actually been announced on the 30th of March that medical personnel will actually be really performing such home testing. So now people are in the predicament, who to trust, what can they do? And I mean, looking at the picture here, I mean, that's how a medical person can get dressed up. Everyone's wearing a face mask these days. It is a real problem. You don't know whether people are actually who they say they do, who they say they are. You have no idea who's real and who's not, who's just trying to steal something from you, and who's actually trying to assist you. It's becoming a real big problem for everyone. There's a lot of attacks out there that's preying on the sheer goodwill of people. There's so many sites out there that ask you donate money, support the cause, assist in defeating corona. And I mean, people want to do it. People want to assist. People has an inherent need. As soon as people assist others, it releases endorphins, which in turn makes you happy and glad about assisting people. So there's so many donation websites where the criminals make empty promises that the money will go to the correct cause, and you harmlessly donate to them, and eventually the money goes just to the criminal, and it doesn't go to the correct cause. There's a lot of people out there spreading personal agendas. So the main two culprits of this is people are stockpiling goods and trying to resell it by making a profit on it. I'm very happy to say that a lot of governments and organizations has actually put a stop to it. I know Amazon is basically not allowing anyone to sell items above a certain value. And a lot of governments has basically started regulating prices for stuff like hand sanitizers and anti-bac and all of those things. But the bigger problem is, and this is something that's going to become a growing and growing trend as the disease continues. So companies use scientists, and I have it in quotes there, so people who have some form of authority to publish news which has not been peer-reviewed. And peer-reviewed I'm using in the sentence there to basically show it is basically no one else has verified it. It's basically someone posting on Twitter their opinion on the matter. I mean, currently, a lot of people are saying ibuprofen shouldn't be used when you have the virus. It might actually kill you. And to date, there's been no scientific evidence that it's actually bad for you. In America, basically the anti-malaria drug, hydroxychloroquine, has basically been noted as it's a drug you can use that'll basically assist you to combat the coronavirus. And yet again, there was no further scientific evidence that supports this. The latest one, and this is actually something I read this morning, which I added to the slide set, is basically a TB drug that is by the Australian government. They're actually doing research on whether that will be able to combat the COVID-19 disease. But just posting it out there is already causing people to start stockpiling the drug. I mean, basically all the companies that sell the ibuprofen, basically no one wants to buy it anymore, because why would you? It's really bad for you in a sense. Then there's so many spreading of misinformation. I mean, on the photo here, and I really want to point this out, it says here the Italian Prime Minister is crying while giving his speech about all the people that's busy dying in Italy. Now, everyone knows there is a bunch of people dying in Italy. Yes, it is a problem. We are aware of it. But there's no way that's the Italian Prime Minister. I mean, if you look closer, it's a Brazilian flag behind there. So the true story is actually, the photo shows Brazil's president shedding a tear during his Thanksgiving speech in December 2019. So absolutely nothing on there that it says at the top is the truth. It's basically nothing on there is the truth. It's people are spreading misinformation. Another prime example of this is on the right hand side. It basically says here, people that think that corona is a joke. See, there is no one to pick up bodies in Italy. And there's a photo of people lying on the ground. And yes, the photo looks terrible. And if you don't know what it's about, you start worrying because you don't know why it is there. But in actual fact, the photo shows people participating in a 2014 art project in the German city of Frankfurt. So those are actually not dead people. It's people who are purposefully lying on the ground. But it's due to so much fake news that's going around that people are using images to portray things that isn't the truth. And that is just causing so much more panic and worries for people. There's also so many malicious websites out there. And this is probably one of the most difficult things to detect. So what we have here is the website called corona-virus-map.com. And it looks exactly the same like the map released by Johns Hopkins, which is on a different URL actually. And whenever you try to click on anything on this map, it says, sure, you can click on here, but first just install this plugin, this extension to your web browser so that you can have better interaction on the map. That extension is actually a malicious piece of software that's trying to steal data, steal your banking credit card information, anything. It can basically see what you're doing on any web page at any given point in time. So, but I agree, it is so difficult for people to protect them against this. And then Zoom has come under fire. It's a massive problem. So a lot of companies have resorted to Zoom, and as soon as a product becomes really popular, all the cyber criminals start targeting it. So yes, on the 1st of April, 2 zero-day vulnerabilities was discovered on Zoom. Both of them are directly related to the Apple operating system. So these vulnerabilities are not active on the Windows operating system. And also there was a bunch of privacy issues raised regarding Zoom. So a lot of companies are talking about should they continue using Zoom, should they not? And they're spending a massive amount of time trying to move between conferencing systems. In my opinion, and this is honestly just my opinion, people currently, we don't have an option on what to use. We need to use what is available, what is there, what is prescribed by specific companies. This webinar is using something different. It is what is provided to me, and I'm not going to say let's not use it and change it and make it difficult for the people. You always want to make sure the people you're addressing or the client you're engaging with can correctly see it. Zoom works really, really well in an academic institution. That's why we are actually ongoingly using it. The advantage of all the vulnerabilities being discovered and publicly disclosed is that Zoom can actually go and address them and fix the problems. So the problem is when vulnerabilities are not disclosed to the public and they aren't fixed. That's why you'll see later on I say, always keep your software up to date. Yes, there's vulnerabilities discovered on Zoom. If you've just updated to the latest version of Zoom, these will not affect you. So it's something you need to take into account. The media makes it sound like a piece of software is terrible, but you as an individual or you who owns an organization, you need to inform the employees or yourself to update the software, keep it updated, keep it running. So don't go out and change the system. The next system you're going to be using is also going to have the same problems. There will be problems. There's not a single piece of software which has zero vulnerabilities in it. Unfortunately, it is not the case. So, upcoming attacks, what are we going to see? So, based on my research, and this is stuff I've done, is the attacks prior to COVID-19. All they did is they used Ebola as the narrative, basically the story they told with the attack. The attacks didn't really change. The attacks stayed the same. All the cyber attacks stayed the same. The vulnerability stayed the same. There's new malicious websites. All of these things are the same. The reason it is such a hot topic at the moment is due to the hysteria and confusion and the elevated emotional state of people. People are more vulnerable to attacks. That's why it's getting reported on, because a lot more attacks are successful in these days. It is also more well known. Also, there's some cyber attacks that are actually targeting the hospitals itself. Obviously, we're going to hear when a hospital can't actually treat the patients due to a cyber attack. So yes, there is more cyber attacks, but it's just because they are more publicized at the moment. So, and if you are a cyber criminal, this is the prime time to hit a target. This is the best chance you'll get to make a profit out of doing a cyber attack on an individual. So the question now remains, what can we do about the situation? And honestly, asking this question at this point in time, we're too late to the party. We should have prepared better before we got to this point. It's the same. It's the same. In 2015, Bill Gates, the CEO of Microsoft, actually put out a TED talk that said, if a big disease hits the world is currently not prepared for it. And basically, the prophecy has been fulfilled. The world was not prepared for the COVID-19 disease. Similarly, we are not prepared for the COVID-19 disease and the impact it currently has in organizations. So previously, and I've been preaching this every single year, and many years that I've been teaching, organizations should skill up all of their employees in cybersecurity awareness. Organizations need to have internal phishing campaigns where you send out emails, harmless emails, to entice employees to click on the link so that you can educate them on how to detect the correct emails, what is real, what is not. And also, everybody has known technology is advancing, people want to work from home. Organizations should have gone out there, tested these systems, see how it works, get up the VPN networks and see where that actually works. I personally know of a lot of organizations who have virtual private networks and tunnels into the organization, but it just cannot hold the load of all the employees connecting to the organization at the same time. So inherently, it was bad design and bad planning by organizations that caused working from home to be such a difficult task at the moment. However, let's not dwell on the past. What can we do now? What can organizations do now? So And in my opinion, organizations need to assist employees to the best of their ability to have a functioning home office, have the correct equipment, get the stuff you need. Also, your company is already running at a financial loss. Workers aren't motivated to work. Some companies can actually not work during a lockdown situation. This is a great time to actually run an awareness campaign, educate people, and you can do it in the form of assisting them on how to work from home. What is a good security protocol? How to set up your home router. All of these things can be provided as guidelines from organizations. So what I've done, and it's actually included in this presentation, is I have very brief guidelines for employees on how to work from home. And organizations can actually take the tips I've put in here, provide it to their employees. All of the tips I provide is something that a normal person who has limited exposure to technology can actually do it on his own. So, first of all, and I've said it so many times, training is the key. People need to be educated. You always have 4 stages of competence when you start doing stuff. You will always start off on when you are not aware of a problem. Before you enter this talk, you were not really aware, or most likely not aware, of the cybersecurity threat out there, that there's phishing emails. Different people are at different levels. So at this level, you came into the talk, you heard on the media there's problems in cybersecurity, but you don't know how this comes. You don't know there was malicious URLs. You've now already moved to the awareness stage where you're consciously incompetent. You don't know how to deal with it, but you now know there's harmful things out there. I want to actually, using the bit of advice I'm going to give you now, make you consciously competent to tell you these are the things you can do. This is how you can protect yourself. This is how you can provide and better your home network. The more you do this, the more you start updating your software, you'll become to an unconsciously competent stage where every day you'll go on your phone, you'll update the software. Every day you'll update your Windows software, you'll know how to set up your network. These will be things that are ingrained in you, and you no longer have to consciously think about how to be safe online. Same in phishing emails. At a stage, you'll start learning how to detect these things, what to do, what can be done about them. So, the guidelines for home office, what can we do about it? First of all, I want everyone to start by updating the operating system and all the software they use to update all of these things on a regular basis. Operating systems, if you're using an Apple product or a Windows product, there's built-in techniques for you to update. You would type in Windows Update and just continue doing the update. It's also required to update your hardware. A lot of employees these days are working on laptops. It's the most, because it's a portable device. If you've been asked to go work from home, you will most likely have a laptop. The best advice there is if you've got a Dell laptop, or you've got a Lenovo laptop, or you've got an HP laptop, go to the HP, Dell, or Lenovo, or ASUS web pages. Navigate to them, click on them and say, check for updates, or check for support, or upgrade your machine, or something like that. All of them are similar to that. It will then install software in your machine to keep your laptop and workstation up to date. It's very important to do. There's a lot of vulnerabilities out there that your laptop might be vulnerable to. The same rule goes for any software you use. A lot of phishing emails target outdated versions of Adobe Acrobat Reader, basically the piece of software used to open PDF documents. If you keep your PDF reader up to date, and at any given point in time, you've got the latest version, you can actually go ahead and click on the malicious PDF. It will not execute as the attacker wants it to execute. It will actually crash the reader and will not infect you, as long as you've got the latest version of the software. So a lot of the attacks target older versions of the PDF reader, and similar to Microsoft Office. As long as you keep all your things updated, you will inherently become more secure. Also, Zoom, your teleconference software, different organizations use different things. Please just go and keep your software continuously updated. Then the second rule is don't let your family use your office devices. And it sounds like such a silly thing to say, but if your child or your husband or your wife uses your machine, they might unknowingly navigate to a malicious website or a link or open on their email for a phishing attack. And this will cause your workstation, your office workstation, to get infected. That is the one scenario. They might also by accidentally delete some of your work. Also, if you connect it to a VPN, these people actually have access to, by accident, delete all of the company data on the file server. So these are things you need to be aware of. Under no circumstances should you let your family use your office devices. Securing your home network. And honestly, this is the most technical point. And it is more complex than the other ones, but I'm pretty sure every one of you has at least a booklet on how your network at home works, how to log into it. And as part of the packaging on setting up your home network when you bought your internet package. So and I'm not asking you to do massive changes. All I'm asking you to do is go onto your wireless settings, choose the security level as WPA2. It is just a better form of encryption, and to break the password is more difficult. Just do that one change. It won't do any effect on the network that you will notice. Also, the password you use to connect to your wireless network. There's many ways to do it, but the surefire way to not do it is to write it down on a document on your machine. The easiest way for you to have a really strong and long password is to think of a sentence. So the sentence I have here is, I really love to go out hiking in the afternoon after work. Then what you do is, a sentence is quite easy to remember. You then use the first letter of every word for your passphrase. And what I've done there is a capital I, R, lowercase l, T, G, O, H, I, T, A, A, W. And I've very easily created a 12-character password. So try to think of something of that. Try use longer passwords, but don't make it complex. Use a sentence. It's a way to make a complicated password that is still easy to remember. Then, and this will sound odd, update all electronic devices in your household. Attackers can actually use stuff like your mobile phone, your tablet, your smart TV that you're using. All of these things are connected to your network. You also can have other smart devices, such as your lights, your vacuum cleaner, your washing machine, or your heating system. So all of these are connected to your network. Some of them can have potential vulnerabilities that will allow attackers into your network. And it's at this point important to remember, protecting yourself and protecting your organization from a cyber attack actually protects you as an individual and protects how your personal banking that you do on there. Staying vigilant against cyber attacks is a way for you to personally be better in cybersecurity. And remember, any device connected to your home network may cause a security breach. And then this is specific addressed and aimed at organization. And it's one of the things that individuals are inherently scared of. People are scared to question authoritative figures. So the most important guideline I have here is, when you receive an email from your CEO or boss or program lead or whoever is in charge of what you need to do, and they give you a request to do. If my program lead tells me I need to transfer money to him for so or so reason to procure this or so that device, or in a finance department, the finance manager gets an email from the CEO of the organization that he is away from the office right now, he urgently needs money to do something. People are scared to ask whether that request is real. In my years of doing incident response, I've seen so many incidents where millions of dollars have actually gone lost because people paid accounts that was invoices from people masquerading as the CEO or boss or authoritative figure. Like I said, people are more emotional, vulnerable at this point in time. Get a culture in your organization where you can question authority. And I mean, it's not going to cost you anything. Pick up the phone, ask the manager whether he actually sent the email. And most of the time, in a case where money needs to be transferred or something big or something unique that you haven't dealt with happens, someone would have actually called you to inform you that you'll get this request. So if you just stop the process and verify that the information is correct, you can actually save your organization a lot of money in that sense. So what should you do now? I mean, we've gone through the education. I've told you what to do. I've told you what the risks are. So at this point in time, all you have is you've got this presentation, and I'm actually going to make it freely available, all the slides. Everyone will also receive a copy of the full presentation, so you can actually show it to your employer. And I'm also, my email address is on the first slide of this presentation. You're more than welcome to contact me. So provide this to your employer. There's a set of guidelines they can do. They can improve your home office environment, and tell them there's so much cybersecurity awareness training material out there. They should utilize it. People should be made more aware on what to do and how to do it. And then all of my research, and this is all the years of research I've done, all my slide sets and my presentations, all of them are publicly available. So thank you very much. I hope you guys have a great day further, and I really hope you enjoyed the presentation.